Now, here's your host, Hank Davis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Relationship Hot Topics. I'm your host, former professional athlete Hank Davis, and you're tuned in to TPE Network.com. Joining me in the studio, she's the lovely and the talented. She's Rebecca Ryder. How the hell are you, Rebecca?
I'm fabulous, thank you.
You're fabulous. All right, dear. All right. How'd your holiday season go?
It went really good.
Because we're already into the new year, so it's pretty spectacular that how time flies when you're having fun, right?
Oh, yeah, and when you have free time.
Yeah.
Less obligations, and
Yeah.
all the kids are off school. They're having a blast.
Yeah, kind
We
of
got
cuts
snow.
kind of cuts into your porn watching time, but yeah,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's cool.
Oh, yeah, I really had to readjust for that.
you're like, damn it, can't watch today either.
Yeah, I didn't have time when I had to go, shovel 6 feet of snow out in my yard.
What's that
at the
Ron
last
Jeremy
minute.
doing? All right. Our topic this time, Rebecca, living together before marriage. Dun, dun, dun. This one is a good topic. You came up with this one, and I think it's an excellent topic to discuss. So let's jump into it, shall we?
Yes.
Should couples live together before marriage? This is the age-old question. What are your thoughts?
Me and my boyfriend have discussed this, and lately I discussed this with other people because my boyfriend and I do not live together. And I was thinking, I don't know, we sort of decided that, it's going to be something that's going to happen later on after he can correct me, I guess, but marriage, after, move in together after marriage. And that's the way it sort of is intended to be, to sort of take it slow and do it the right way. But I don't know. These people that I have been speaking to have told me stories about themselves personally, and they've told me stories about their parents. They've brought in religion and all types of things into it, and I have a lot of people. It's 9.9% of all these people are you should definitely live with somebody before you get married.
I used to think that myself, too. I used to think that you had to live with somebody. But having lived with someone and it not working out time after time after time, I'm starting to think that maybe you don't do that. Maybe that's part of the reason it doesn't work out. I don't know. I think this is a very deep and sometimes convoluted discussion just because of all the factors that come into play.
Yes.
So
every situation is different, too.
Yeah.
And each two people together are different than, not every couple is the same. Not everybody, I don't know, everybody doesn't view everything the same. I don't know. There's a lot. There is a lot. This is very deep. There's a lot that goes into this.
So how do you know when to move in together?
I think that has a lot to do with sort of what we were just talking about too, as in how, when you had said moving in with someone, living with them, it didn't work. What time frame? I have friends that have, I have a friend that has been married for 20 years with someone that I believe they were living with each other within a month or two after they had met. But that's kind of an exception to the rule, I think. And then I have a friend that was dating someone for 3 months, moved in. That didn't work out.
Yeah, I could see how that wouldn't work.
And then I have a friend that dated someone for a year, moved in.
Fell apart?
They're married, having their first child.
Oh, okay. Worked.
And I had another friend that moved in with someone after 2.5 to 3 months. They are together, not engaged, but they're ready to have their first child together. I mean, they're still together like 2 years later.
Okay. So you got a lot of friends living in sin. All right.
Yeah,
No.
pretty much everyone like around you these days is living.
If I were to answer this, I would say that it's going to be, obviously, it's going to be different in every situation. But I think when you want to be around a person for the right reasons, if that makes sense,
Yeah, it does.
I think that would be an inclination that, hey, maybe it's time to move forward or something, in that way. But it would have a lot to do with your own personal beliefs and just what are all the other situations that are going on. I think we're going to get into some of them coming up, so maybe I'll just roll into them and we can kind of expand on that.
Yeah, because I don't think that it should be any one specific thing.
No, no.
I've been dating for 9 months, so now's the time to move in. Oh, we've been dating for 10 months. That's my limit. 11 months. That's my limit. Engagement, all of that. I think that when you are around this person and you want to be around them more and more and more and more and more, and I'm not talking about the initial first few months. That's too soon
Yeah.
for anyone. Even 6 months, I believe, is too soon for anyone. But the more that you get to know this person, and if they meet your criteria for someone that you want to be with, and you know that you're going to be together, whether you're engaged or not or whatever, and you just don't want to keep going day after day without seeing this person again. And when you know that when you both know that you're the perfect fit for each other, I think that I think that has something to do with it too. I don't think it should just be like a time frame.
Yeah, and let's get into this next one. Should economical reasons play into living together? That's a tough one.
If you're looking at it from the point of view like, well, you know what, we're paying, because I've heard this. You've seen it on shows before, I think. I know I have. And I've heard other people say this. Well, we didn't want to pay for 2 apartments anymore. It just didn't make sense.
Yep.
And 2 phone bills and 2 electric bills and consumers and all of that. That is not a reason to move in together.
No, I couldn't agree more.
Get a roommate. Male, female, you guys work that out. I don't know. If I got a roommate, I don't think that I would want a girl. I think I would probably want like a dad type guy to move into my house so he can help me with shit. Because I feel so helpless sometimes when it comes to a lot of mechanical things.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck sort of out, in a rural area. So I don't know, my boyfriend we'd have to talk about that. I don't really know. But if you're going to, if it's because of financial reasons and you need a roommate or something like that, don't just have the person that you're dating automatically be first choice.
That's a great point. And I think there are certain economical situations that do make these situations happen or whatnot. But like you said, that should definitely not be the motivation behind it.
It shouldn't. And if it does happen, and if it is, say, I don't know, you're dating and something happens, maybe someone you're dating, their house burns down. Or,
oh, yeah. I mean,
anything like that.
Drastic.
Be smart about being together. Talk about who is going to communicate. Because that's the number one thing I believe in relationships anyway. And, just like figure out, okay, but, I'm really good at doing laundry, but I'm really bad at,
everything else.
The bills or whatever. Or, do we, I'm really good at. Are you talking about Rebecca?
No. No.
I didn't
No.
think so. Okay. I'm good at many things.
I love it. Love it. I can make hot dogs. Awesome. All right.
I can. I figured out how to boil them. And they're really good that way.
That's ridiculous. Thank you.
Stop it.
Oh,
you can
my
also
goodness.
bake them in the oven with
okay. Yeah. Because that's like it's like having
cut them
something
in the middle
extreme.
and put cheese. They're really good.
Getting crazy now.
Some
with
chili
cheese
stuff.
in 'em.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness. How do you decide where to live? Do you live at his place? Do you live at her place? Do you live somewhere new? How do you figure that part out?
I don't know, a lot of talking, a lot of research.
Because I think that'd be a tough situation there, especially if your careers are in two different cities. That's always a toughie, I think, for people.
Yeah. I mean, is somebody going to commute? Or is, there going to be just a situation where you start, polishing up that resume, putting it out to a different area? Do you move to an area completely different for the both of you? Is there a state that you both wanted to go to? Or are there job opportunities there? There's so many things that come into play. Children that are in school, are you going to uproot them?
Like their
and
plants?
at what age? Yeah, just like here.
Like their plants.
I can just put you back over
uproot 'em.
here.
Yeah, I'll just put some water on them. Yeah, that's I think that'd be a tough spot too, because I think most couples go into it generally thinking that the other person wants to live where they're at.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this
Right.
would make so much sense to be here because of this, this, and this. And the other person's like, well, it would make so much more sense to be out here because this is, you got this, this, and this. So I think that's a definite thing that you kind of have to communicate with each other on.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be pros and cons, I think, at either places.
Oh,
So-
definitely.
And especially if one person's really attached to where they're at, or
Mhm.
they might not even really give a rip, and they might just but
Yeah,
somebody might be thinking, oh, this area is so much safer, the school districts are better, or whatever. I don't like this weather, I don't really want to live here for very long. You have to talk about all that stuff.
Yeah,
If
I had
you
a
want it
buddy.
to work.
I had a friend. I haven't talked to him in quite a while, but he got married and they just up and just moved like totally to a different absolute state. No ties, nothing. Just, hey, let's try this. Okay. And they just did it.
That's kind of cool too, because they've got each other to count on. So what a team is that going to be? You
Yeah.
know,
And
sink or swim. I don't know.
And now he can't play Xbox Live with me anymore because I haven't talked to him in years.
Uh-oh.
I might have been part of the problem. Maybe that was it. Bad influence. Who knows?
So are any of your friends like happily married? Do you have any friends that?
Not really. No.
Uh-oh.
Does that say something about me?
Meddlesome
I'm
man.
on the right shoulder going, come on, let's go. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, how come your check came in all ones? All right. Is it true that you never know someone until you live with them?
I do believe that.
I don't believe
And
that.
I don't believe that you truly know them just because you're living with them, though. I think that you don't know as many things
Oh, okay.
about
I
someone.
was going to say, you're confusing
until
the
you
shit out
live.
of me.
Because I did live with someone that I was actually married to, and I really didn't know the true him. Like, there were things that you can still hide from people.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you don't want to be
Not
like...
forever.
Yeah, but
so
you
I don't
don't...
think you're all
but-
smart and cute and funny or
but I
whatever.
don't
The men
think-
and women out there that are like, oh, yeah, I got some secrets on my husband, or, you know.
Well, I don't
that I
think
hide.
that you should share every single thing either, though. You
Oh,
know what I mean? There's certain things that are just not share worthy, so it's not even worth your time sharing. Like, hey, by the way, I like to stick my car keys in my ear. I can save that. I can save that for the office when I'm not in front of you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's silly, stupid stuff like that. I
Right,
think
because you still want this person to think you're attractive.
exactly, and I think sometimes that people kind of suffocate each other a little too much, and then they start noticing every little bitty thing that happens because they're kind of on top of each other too much.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not like that. I couldn't. That would just be. You're like you said, suffocating.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Just too much sometimes.
I have a lot going on though. I have a life, and it's not. It doesn't revolve around my boyfriend.
That's good though. That's the way
Yeah.
it has to be.
It is, and he also has his things, and that's what I like because it doesn't make me feel guilty. And if we stayed in, I want one of those. I can hear you over there.
I've got water and you don't.
So, isn't that
Yeah.
crazy though? The ice made me think of something else. But anyway,
My gosh. This show is rated R. I mean, what are you talking about? Come on. Let's keep it non-sexual. No, I'm kidding.
I was
Oh,
until
my-
you just.
give up. We jumped the shark. This show jumped the shark in like episode 2. All right, go ahead.
But I think that when you're staying with someone like that and you're around each other all the time, like you said, you're going to get on each other's nerves. You have to have your own interests.
Here's what I think about the show.
He's ready to make the jump.
We're going to jump the shark with the Fonz. Yeah, that's what happened to the show. All right. I think that you never, in some cases, you never truly know someone, period.
Right.
I was engaged, and this person was a drug addict. I didn't know that. Not to that extent, I didn't.
How long did you date, though, before you moved in?
It's like, I don't know, it might have been a year before we moved in. And then it was not very long after that we broke up for good.
See,
and,
isn't that just
it's
coincidence?
sad. You know, it's sad. She's deceased now, and that's sad too. But
I'm sorry to hear about that.
But it's just very challenging because if somebody doesn't want you to know something, you're probably not going to know it. You know, and it could be serious stuff sometimes.
Is she deceased because of the...
I would assume, but that's just me assuming. I don't want to say.
Okay.
I don't know
because
for
she wasn't,
sure.
Like...
When somebody says you're found home alone, you know.
And she wasn't really old, and she didn't...
No, she's like a decade younger than me. So, or she was anyway. So it's like, I don't know. But you don't really know somebody. You only know what they want you to know, really. You know, you can do investigations and all background checks and all that stuff and find out simple stuff. But there's like personal stuff that some people just don't share.
Right, but how long after you moved in did you find this out about her?
I didn't.
Never.
No, until after, pretty much after we were broken up pretty good. Then I found out that, wow, I didn't know it was like that. You know, I thought it was like, you know, I'm not trying to say that there's drugs and stuff that you can do that aren't bad. But like, you know, there's lighter things that people do, amphetamines or such, where you're like, okay, somebody's younger, they're experimenting, whatever. But then you find out about some of the heavier stuff, and you're like, ooh, that's not good.
How'd you find out about the heavier stuff?
Why are we going into this? That's not what
I was just wondering because
not what the show is about.
Well, how you're saying like that you don't really know someone or whatever, but you said that you guys broke up shortly after you.
Yeah, after we got together because we just weren't right for each other.
Yeah, after you moved in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what we're talking. That's my point.
Yeah, but you're saying, how did you find out about this? How did you find out about that? That's
yeah,
not
because
what the topic
you guys said that you broke up. Was it something that you found out like because you would live together, or was it something that was just like hearsay or talk after like she was already out of the apartment or out of the house? Because that sort of happened to me when I was with someone and I came in and there were some drugs on my counter, and I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have known that had I not lived with that person.
See, I would have just have known nothing, period, if I wouldn't just been plugged into the right connections, I should say. You know. Like
okay, that's what I was wondering. That's what I was thinking. Did it come from her?
No, it did not come from her.
That's what I was thinking, that it came from her. You found out because of, you had,
Nope.
moved in
Other
together,
people.
and then you ended up breaking up, and, then she's like, hey, wait, I'm sorry. Okay, got it. Yeah.
What type of example are you setting for children when you move in with someone before marriage? And I think this one just goes on your belief system. So if you are a person who's spiritual, I think that you're going to be like, oh, no, what kind of example am I setting? And then I think if you're not spiritual, you didn't grow up with that kind of background, I think you come into these situations and you just go, well, it's probably okay or whatever. I'm a person that believes that younger kids should not see so much between couples because I think it does set a bad precedence, especially with young boys. I think they go, oh, it's okay to do this, and this. And I think that's a bad example. And I think for young girls, I think it can be a bad example for them because they don't understand everything that goes into living with someone, and then when they're 17, 18, they're thinking, well, you did this or whatever, but they don't understand all the other nuances that go into that. Any thoughts?
I think all those things apply, and I think that they also could be looked at. I guess when you're thinking about maybe because I'm a woman, thinking about the younger girls, growing up and seeing the dynamics of the home, and I mean you're going to learn from your parents. So I think that the example that's being set for kids is depending on what roles and things are being played in that home. This girl could grow up thinking, it's my job to, move in with anyone that I date and or wait on them hand and foot. Or, it's okay that, oh, well, he always yelled at my mom. It's okay if someone yells at you like that because she shouldn't have spilled that on the carpet or different things. And like you said with the boy, I agree with you on how it has influence on the kids.
Definitely.
I think that it shows them sort of that, oh, well, you just always move in with anyone you date.
Yeah, these young guys that are, starting to be adults now that have been growing up in this first wave of fatherless homes, where it's a boyfriend, but he doesn't spend any time with them and all that stuff. I think they're just, that generation was set up for failure. Just in my opinion, they don't know how to treat women. They don't know how to treat other men. They don't know what their role should be. I think there's just a lot of problems, and I would say it would be, related to the home situation.
Well, like you said, too, didn't you say fatherless homes?
Yeah, there's a ton of homes and we're starting to see them kids be adults now, and they didn't, grow up with the dad there. It might have been a boyfriend or might have been several different boyfriends or no one, or live with grandma.
Yeah, the fathers have no excuse for not being there.
Well, sometimes,
They have
where I'm
excuses,
from,
but there's not any good reasons. There's plenty of
Exactly.
excuses,
the
full of them.
The reason is some bars,
Yeah, and look what you're creating. So
Setting
good job on
behind
you. Good job on you being a loser and
Yeah.
not being there. Because that's exactly what.
a lot of
And
people.
it's not really a boyfriend's responsibility to raise someone else's child either. And I really give a lot of respect out to those men that do step in and actually be a man. A lot of people run away from their problems while I feel uncomfortable being around them or the situation is, so I'm just going to run and just be a loser and not face anything. Because, I mean, I thought men were supposed to be the stronger sex, but a lot of times they just, when it comes to emotions, they don't want to deal with them. And they just kind of brush it under the carpet, run, whatever, and it's okay because it's somewhat accepted of a man, or that's what they expect me to do. And those are like all excuses. So I think that a lot of these boys that are acting out like you say and they don't really know, they haven't been properly shown by a man, and you don't have to be in the home to be that father figure like to them.
No, you don't.
You can have them over every other weekend, visit them during the week, or whatever you want to agree on in the courts.
And I think a lot of people just have to have a better filter on what some of these kids are seeing or hearing,
I agree.
And that's something that just really disturbs me sometimes, is just hearing things that people say in front of their children or share with their children, and a lot of times these kids are tiny, and it's like they're not ready. You might think they're ready for this kind of stuff, but you got to be careful on how soon, how fast you bring them along.
Well, some of the professors in the psychology department, the child developmental professionals and doctors have said too that when a child brings up a topic to you, that's when you talk about it, but you have to talk to them about it appropriate for their age. So when they're 5 and 6 and 7 and kids here, they look at the TV. It's not just me. Look at the TV, look at the radio, everything. The word sex is out there everywhere. I had a little child say something about cats having sex, and I was just like, oh, what is that? What are they doing? And then they'll say something off the wall and kind of silly. And then you just sort of let that go. I mean, unless it's, you got to filter your own, what you're going to say for each situation. But I was just kind of like, that's, those cats over there playing or whatever like that. Where did you hear that type thing? And you're supposed to keep like the sentences sort of short for like their age. And if it's a teenager,
Talk
obviously
real
there's
slow.
a tween or a teen, you're going to get into a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
But, Animal Planet, come on.
Get the talk. Get the talk.
The kids see that too,
My
so they
parents-
understand nature a little bit. But
My parents bypassed the talk.
mine too.
Yeah, my mom said, I just hope you're wearing condoms. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, you're not going to give me the benefit of the doubt that it was just like the look like we already know that what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, wait a minute. Who's to say I'm even? Oh, okay. We're inside, so the lightning shouldn't strike yet. So it's all good. All right.
They're my friends.
What would be the downside to moving in together? I think we've been all over the place on this topic.
Right, yeah. The breaking up, the separating things, the boxing up your stuff, whatever.
I think the fighting.
Losing your stuff.
I think the fighting, like if you're fighting all the time and stuff, I think that would be terrible.
That's not good in any relationship, whether you stay together or not. But
I think the having to conform to each other in the way of, oh, well, I used to do this at 7:00 on Sunday night. Now I have to do this. I think that sometimes that kind of having to be in somebody else's routine sometimes, I think it's a little challenging sometimes.
oh yeah, I was thinking of what was the downside of moving in together and then breaking up.
Yeah. I mean, and
Because-
that's all part of it.
Yeah, but
Unfortunately, half of the people that get together break up.
that's why it's better to date a little bit, date longer before you do move in with someone because you're going to see their little habits.
Yeah.
And when you go over there and visit, you're going to, witness each other's likes, dislikes, and things like that. And so, like, I know, like, the person that I'm with, if we ever moved in together, we would have to have, like, separate rooms. Like, not just, like, the separate, like, a TV room and a basement or something like that, but, like, separate rooms. Like, I would have to have a room that I could go to where I could shut the door and just not be interrupted
Yeah.
and get some things done or whatever. And, same thing for him. He would have to have his own room where he could do things. And, if he wants to watch sports or something like that, then I want to be, and I want to watch something else. There has to be like a balance there.
Definitely. Yeah, I think finding that balance would be one of the downsides.
I think expectations of the other person on you is a downside.
Yeah.
When you move in and you're like, someone says, oh, there's no milk in the refrigerator. And then looks at you. You're like, oh, yeah, you're right.
You're right. Your keys are over
Maybe.
there.
Yeah, that big building that has those doors that open for you a block from where you work. They sell that there.
They sell that there. And when you drank the last of it, you probably should have got it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think all that little nuance stuff, when to do laundry or how laundry is done, how things are cleaned, when are meals prepared, who prepares them. All that stuff would be a lot to think about.
Yeah, in the bathroom, it's not just yours anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to share all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it'd be. And then company coming over, because I'm a person that people just don't drop by my place. That never happens because
I can't stand that.
people know me and they know that I don't think that's respectful.
Mm-mm.
And I'm just like, I get real testy if somebody just shows up out of the blue without calling. I'm like, you got a phone. You knew what you were doing. Let me know.
Exactly. They know how to get a hold of you.
So all kinds of stuff like that would be just, it'd be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts on this topic?
I think that everyone should just communicate with each other and just make sure that you're being smart about when you move in together. Make sure that it's something that you think is going to be, where whatever your goals are. If you both are just like, hey, you know what? Hey, I need a roommate. We're dating. Let's get together. If it doesn't work out, hey, so what? We'll be friends. Go our separate ways and do exactly what we're doing right now. Then fine. If there isn't really any expectations or any long-term goals for either one of you, have fun with it. But somebody's name's going to be on the lease. Somebody's going to have to afford it afterwards.
Yeah.
Just think about all those things. That's what I think. Just communicate, be smart.
Definitely. I like it. Awesome. Interesting topic. Another kind of a serious topic again, but, it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people think about these things. A lot of people wonder.
And it's a tough, hot topic,
I've had many friends say to me, like, oh, we're thinking about moving in together. Almost like, do you think we should?
Yeah. Do you think this is the biggest mistake I've ever made? No. Yeah, it's challenging. So very cool. All right. That's going to do it for this edition of Relationship Hot Topics. For Rebecca Ryder, I'm Hank Davis. Until next time, my friends, we're signing off.
Tiger Prince Entertainment.
There ain't nothing else like it.